YouTube, welcome back. Episode 220. Make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. But y'all let me know if y'all got some frozen eggs or if y'all have some eggs in the fridge that happen to freeze. Can you still eat them?
I'm the Google queen.
Right.
It just said,
Defrosting.
yes, you can eat safely. No, let me read it first. Let me read right. I'm still hung up on frozen eggs. Yes, you can safely eat frozen eggs, but proper thawing and preparation are crucial. The safety and texture of the egg depend on whether it was frozen inside or outside the shell and whether the shell is cracked.
The shell is cracked.
If eggs freeze accidentally in the shell, you should inspect it carefully. Discard it if the shell is cracked.
Dang.
The expansion of the freezing liquid can cause the shell to crack, which allows bacteria to enter the egg.
Hmm.
You need to throw them away if it's cracked as you chewing. And I hope that's not an egg. You just need to boil. Are you eating them with a salad?
Make some meat and eggs.
I know, but are you eating them as a salad or scrambled?
Scramble.
Oh, well, you better take you some stomach medicine if you eating and it was cracked. Change the temperature on your refrigerator.
I did. What we gonna talk about today?
Well, we talked about frozen eggs.
What did I watch?
But you know what? It says look, I'm back on the eggs. For long-term storage, you can freeze eggs by cracking them and removing them from their shells. And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration states that frozen eggs can be stored for up to a year. Crack the
Dang.
eggs, how to freeze them out of the shell. Crack the eggs to a bowl. Whisk the yolk and whites together. Avoid whipping it too much in the air. Add a pinch of salt or sugar to whole eggs or yolks to prevent the texture from becoming grainy. Pour the egg mixture into an ice cube tray or muffin tin and freeze until solid. Once frozen, transfer the egg cubes to a freezer safe bag or airtight container for long-term storage.
Yeah, give me some egg cubes out the freezer.
And then it just says you just got to make sure you unthaw them properly. Never thaw eggs on the kitchen counter at room temperature. Thaw them overnight in the refrigerator.
Hmm.
Oh well, frozen eggs session.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know how you feel tomorrow.
Right. Did you let them properly unthaw?
No, I threw most of them away.
Oh. Hmm.
You threw most of them away, but what about the ones you didn't throw away?
They weren't cracked.
Oh, okay.
No, well, should be good, hopefully. Mm-hmm. What was in the news? Are y'all ready for football? You going to any Edmond North games this season?
I don't know. Maybe.
Mm. I think we had some games here tonight, kicking off the football season. Excuse me.
Oh, will she play tonight?
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma State?
Yeah.
No, let me
Who's
see.
that tomorrow?
I think it's Friday night because who they play? You were saying? Let's see. No, they play tonight. No, we were talking about Colorado. I think Colorado play tomorrow night. It says OSU is playing UT Martin.
Hmm.
It's OSU 17, UT Martin 7.
Hmm.
What is UT Martin?
Was it Tennessee?
Mm, I don't say. Yeah, in Colorado, I think play tomorrow. No, wait. Oh, that's Colorado State. Oops. Yeah, they play tomorrow at 7 against Georgia Tech. Watch him come out with his new shades on. You see his new shades?
Uh-uh.
I like them too.
See the screen?
Mm, hold on.
Yes.
I see it.
His girlfriend, who he just began dating. Thanks for joining us on Law and Crime. I'm Elizabeth Milner. Deputies in Florida report this man fired at his girlfriend more than 15 times. Now, we
Oh
got
my
our hands on
goodness.
the federal court documents, which charges the 30-year-old with cyberstalking, interstate domestic violence, murder through the use of a firearm, plus more. The early stages of a relationship are supposed to be fun. You're getting to know someone new, spending time together, all of that. It's unclear how Starmichael Tucker and her boyfriend Charles Carson-Dowdy met. Starmichael had previously graduated from Florida A&M University with a nursing degree. She served in the Air Force for a little bit. Then the California native was working in Pensacola while also caring for her young son. Starmichael's sister Rhea previously told WEAR News in Florida her sister was the light that shined through everyone's darkness. Rhea told the outlet that she didn't see any red flags in the few short months that her sister was dating Charles. She initially thought that he seemed sweet and innocent, and as a couple, they looked happy. But about 3 to 4 months into the relationship, something allegedly snapped in Charles. Back in early January, the Escambia County Sheriff's Office began investigating a homicide. A woman was found shot multiple times at a local apartment complex. The woman was ID'd as Starmichael. The sheriff saying at the time at least 15 shots were fired at her, with about 7 of those bullets hitting her. As if that wasn't horrific enough, deputies say her killer ran over her with her own Jeep, then backed up over her before eventually getting away. She was transported to a hospital, but she died from her injuries.
He gotta go the same way.
I just don't understand. Why don't people just walk away? Walk away.
I
And
just
hmm.
tragic.
And then it gets to it gets that violent. I'm just like, for what? For you to be behind bars? I mean, that don't even make sense.
That
I
ended
know we
up the
all got our
exact same.
limit and that anger point in us, but I'm just like, dang, that's just crazy.
Sheriff Chip Simmons told local reporters at the time of the murder, whatever triggered this, obviously it's unwarranted, this use of violence. But to use this level of violence, this level of brutality, it's uncalled
Mhm.
for. The Jeep Cherokee allegedly used to run over Starmichael was eventually found over in Alabama. And guess who was driving her Jeep? none other than Starmichael's boyfriend, Charles. It's been reported that when deputies were on scene at the apartment complex, they got word that Charles had contacted the father of Starmichael's child. Charles allegedly told him that Starmichael was dead and that he didn't want to talk about what happened. But it seemed that he might have called someone else too. According to WEAR, a man called 911 a short time after, saying that he knew where Charles was located. The man told dispatchers he heard about the shooting and recognized the apartment complex because he previously worked with Charles and would often drop him off to that very same apartment complex. The coworker who called 911 reportedly texted Charles asking if he was okay, and he allegedly responded not at all. Charles allegedly told the man he shot Starmichael like 16 times. Charles allegedly claimed that when he was with Starmichael, everything was good. Then something sent him into...
That is the example. That's past the example of overkill.
Yeah. And then after that, you're gonna run. He ran over her. That's sick. That is sick. He needs to be under the prison too.
a rage and he shot her multiple times. According to the report, Charles told the man that he was underneath a bridge heading to Mobile, Alabama. Deputies reportedly tried to get the coworker to call Charles back so they could listen in and get more information. Charles picked up telling the man that he was waiting for someone to come look at the car tire because he had a flat. The coworker said that he encouraged Charles to turn himself in, but Charles allegedly said he was scared. Deputies used that information to track him down. He was arrested by Spanish Fort Police a short while later. According to police, Charles allegedly had a gun in the center console of the Jeep, and he reportedly didn't say much either, except, "My life is over." When he was extradited back to Florida, he was charged with second-degree murder, and a judge denied him bond. That was earlier this year. Just this week, federal prosecutors announced Charles has been indicted by a federal grand jury. According to the indictment, under count 1, Charles Carson-Dowdy, with the intent to kill, injure, harass, intimidate, and place under surveillance with the intent to kill, injure, harass, and intimidate another person, that is
Placed under surveillance.
With the intent to kill, place under surveillance. Maybe they're saying that he placed her under surveillance.
Starmichael L. Tucker,
Probably stalking her.
electronic communication and electronic communication system of interstate commerce and a facility of interstate and foreign commerce, to wit, a cellular telephone, interstate wires, and the internet, to engage in a course of conduct that caused and attempted to cause and would be responsibly accepted to cause substantial emotional distress to that person, and in the course of engaging in such conduct cause the death of that person. Under count 2, Charles is accused of traveling in interstate commerce with the intent to kill, injure, harass, and intimidate an intimate partner and dating partner, and in the course of and as a result of such travel and presence, committed a crime of violence against the intimate partner and dating partner, to wit, the murder of Starmichael L. Tucker. Under count 3, Charles is accused of knowingly and carrying a handgun during and in relation to a crime of violence for which he may be prosecuted in a court of the United States, that is interstate domestic violence, as charged in count 2 of the indictment. Under count 4, Charles allegedly did knowingly discharge, use, and carry a firearm, that is a handgun, during and in relation to a crime of violence. And finally, under count 5, Charles is accused of knowing that he had previously been convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment for a term exceeding 1 year, knowingly possessed a firearm and ammunition in and affecting interstate and foreign commerce. Now, that charge came about because, according to the indictment, in August of 2024,
How he get this other handgun?
Illegally.
They ain't gonna take away the
How,
right to bear arms. So
how everybody else is getting them and they going shooting up.
hey, did you let's finish this video first. Hold on.
Charles was convicted in Texas of criminal mischief, and even after his conviction, allegedly possessed a pistol and 9mm ammunition. Now, if Charles is convicted on his federal charges, he's facing up to life in prison. Now, he hasn't entered a plea yet for his federal charges. He'll be arraigned later in the week. I'm joined now by criminal defense attorney Safa Robinson-Ferrer to break this down even further. Safa, are you surprised that these federal charges came 7 months after Charles Carson-Dowdy was arrested?
I am surprised to an extent that this took this long. However, I think the uniqueness of this case, and especially considering that the victim of this case was a member of the United States Armed Forces, prosecute Mr. Dowdy.
And it's interesting your breakdown of that.
One of them is shot and killed. This is an individual who shot this woman, or allegedly shot this woman, like to your point, over a dozen times. And not only that, but ran her over with a vehicle. You know, at what point is enough enough? At what point does the rage stop in a case and situation like this?
So this case is.
There's some out there that have 30 something. You can buy an extended clip for it.
I'm like, what kind of gun he shoot her with that got all them bullets in there? Wasn't just no
A
regular
handgun.
handgun. No.
Had it, well, probably had, I don't know, two magazines or one really large one. So,
Mm.
but still, he shouldn't have had it.
Yep.
Gruesome, completely sinister. I do see that it is fit, to prosecute on both ends, federally and stateside on this case. And Mr. Dowdy's looking at spending the rest of his life in prison, and if convicted, rightfully so.
As he should.
When he was arrested, I think he had uttered something allegedly along the lines of, my life is over, and that might be the case. And normally when we see these types of cases, it's between a couple that have been dating for a while. Not that that negates anything at all, but longer than Starmichael and Charles were together. But why do you think he allegedly flew off the handle so quickly and so aggressively with her like that? It feels like there was more leading up to this moment. He wouldn't just allegedly bring out a gun, just start shooting at her 15, 16 times and then just run her over. It just seems like more might have been going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And my guess, and again, I'm speculating at this point, is that Ms. Tucker probably rejected him in some sort of way. The rejection ultimately, and again, I'm speculating, and these are all allegations, is that it caused him to fly off the handle, to be so upset and so angry that he decided that he was going to stalk her, that he was ultimately going to hunt her down, kill her, and run her over with a vehicle. Again, because of that rejection. And again, yes,
So, sound like to me it was a breakup.
Yep.
And
She
he
probably.
didn't want to break up with him.
Mm-hmm. I think she realized he was doing too much, a little too controlling, too clingy, too jealous. And then she's like, we need to split. We need a break. He couldn't handle it. Probably blew up her phone, left messages, called hundreds of times in a day, stalking her, following her, and she wouldn't take them back. Sad.
speculating. Not only that, but I think a lot of times when we look at cases like this, we have to also look at where that rage comes from, because it's so out of the ordinary. And when we look at cases like this, oftentimes we see that it's rooted in childhood. Maybe he was rejected in certain ways throughout his childhood, and ultimately those continue to perpetuate into his adult life to the point where he determined that it was fit to use violence against anybody who may have rejected him.
Boy, he
So that
got
is
that top
possibly,
button
those are
tight.
my thoughts on this case.
And it seems like there was also kind of some speculation on social media that maybe this happened because Starmichael was trying to break up with him, something along those lines. Nothing been verified through prosecutors just yet, but just some speculation to your point. I've been seeing kind of circulate online. And are you surprised by the defendant's actions in the aftermath? Most people try to keep kind of a low cover if they allegedly do a murder or something like that. But according to reports, Charles made phone calls to Starmichael's child's father, to his coworker. He allegedly stole her Jeep, and the only reason he was caught was because he had a flat tire in her Jeep. But do you think that things would have worked out differently if he would have just stayed on the scene, possibly called 911?
I think that's kind of a subjective question, to the extent like him calling her child's father is absolutely bizarre. Why would somebody do that, especially if you've just committed a murder? I can understand somebody fleeing because they don't want to be prosecuted for what they've just done. But we've also got the admissions or the comments from him where he allegedly says, my life is over. So all of these things give pause and really say, what is really going on in the mind of this individual that would cause him to commit so many alleged odd acts, and a lot of times, and I hate to use this as a throwaway, but when we have individuals who have gone through with mental health diagnosis or other traumas that have been untreated for some time, we see this behavior. Maybe not to the significant extent, but we do see this behavior. And not only that, but we have certain individuals, unfortunately, who are of the belief, if I can't have you, no one else will. And I think that this is one of those cases.
And another question that comes to my mind is, how did the gun end up there? And do you think that this possibly, even though he's been charged with second-degree murder on a state level, that this case also may fit the qualifications of first-degree murder? We don't know if it's been premeditated, but do you think there's any argument for first-degree murder here, especially when
he was
allegedly
stalking? That's premeditated.
There is absolutely argument for first-degree murder, and in my mind,
right, it better be first degree.
They'll probably bump the charges up to first degree.
So
I'm like, you stalking, camping out, harassing, doing all of this stuff. I wonder, did she get a chance to file a PO, protective order, against him? And I guarantee you she probably got messages to maybe a good girlfriend of hers of the crazy stuff that he was doing. I don't know about people in her family, but maybe a good friend of hers probably knew what was going on. Her child's father may have kind of knew what was going on, especially for him to call her son's father. So they'll probably bump the charges up.
Yeah, he need to get the same treatment.
That's terrible though.
But we don't even care. Just let us know what is done.
Yep, that's terrible. Mm, mm, mm.
I wonder how like that's gonna have to be a topic one day.
And don't tell us then.
But yeah,
Mm,
hey, condolences to Miss Starmichael, her family.
yep, her
Hope the
child.
right punishment is served here because yeah, that is the example of extreme
I
nonsense.
don't condone violence, but she was in the military, right?
Yeah.
She should have whipped out one of her guns.
Mm. But yeah, what I was gonna say was there was two shootings in Minnesota.
Hmm? I
Dang.
thought it was just the one at the church.
I think there was two.
What is going on? Yeah, I thought it was just the one at the school, Catholic, not the school, the Catholic church. And they released the photos and the names of the two kids that were unalive.
Yeah, he fit the stereotype.
That's sad though. A little boy and a little girl.
You babies didn't deserve that.
Mm-mm. Nope, not at all. Not at
Yeah,
all.
two
That's
children.
terrible.
18 people were in. Did he have a manifesto?
I think he did. I think he did. I think they said he did.
Hold on, here we go.
My thing is, they talk about these manifestos. Why come they can't do nothing online to ping manifestos? They have all this stuff typed on line and wherever else, and then they find this mess after a mass shooting. That's terrible. But yeah, he had a manifesto. Is this it?
I think so.
What they say? A minute. What? Hold on, he got pigtails.
Haha, nice.
Was that the church?
Yeah,
Oh my goodness. There go the cross back there, the pulpit, sanctuary area. the doors. That is and they got a freaking map at the top, north, south, east, west. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm, mm.
And see, this is like, it really makes you question, like, just think about it. I would start looking at the average churchgoer different now. Just think
What you
about that.
mean?
He didn't get that off the internet. He was in church drawing that.
Yeah, I think he went to that school when he was in school.
Whatever church school, he was in school doing that.
Yeah.
So he in there mapping it out while he there.
Yeah, I think he graduated. I think he graduated from there. Kid, didn't it say like 2017 or something like that? He graduated. I can't remember. Me and Kia pulled it up the other day. And then the thing is, a lot of people probably go back to that church for like mass and all of that stuff. So it's probably open up throughout the week to public and members too.
This is a shame. They just gonna have to like permanent online school. But then next thing you
Hmm.
know, people gonna find another venue to go after.
Yeah. And then my thing is, how did he even, I mean, but I think it was an event or something too at the school. So he probably just freely walked in as if he was coming for that program or that event too. The Lord gonna have to put metal detectors in the church house.
Got to. Wait.
He scheduled
Yeah,
his
he
video.
scheduled the video. Wow. Encrypted messages. So basically, he did what we be doing. We record videos, we can post them now, or we can save them for a later date. And he
Hell, I didn't even know you can do that.
one sick individual. Like that's
Yep,
crazy.
and he didn't just wake up and plan this. He been planning it.
Hmm.
A former student of the school at the school.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm outside the church here still in Minneapolis, where the awful shooting happened. Learning more about the shooter today, more about just, it's awful. I mean, these thousands of pages of writings and journals that he had, this hatred that he had for children, which is hard to even really wrap your mind around. I'm going to explain to you everything new that I've learned. I'm going to walk you around the church, take you to the spot where the shooting actually happened, which is interesting to see in relation to the timeline and the investigation. I'll get into all of it in this episode of Brian Ensign Investigates. Hey guys, so I'm back outside the Annunciation Catholic Church. That's the church behind me where this awful shooting happened in
That's terrible.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do a deep dive on him.
And that's one of the places where people are not prepared to shoot. A lot of people, even if they do carry, are not carrying guns in church. They may leave it in a car, but nobody is probably strapped like that going into church. The only people that in some churches that's probably carrying is like if the church has security for like the pastor. But I mean, that's crazy. And then kids, they wasn't prepared and not even thinking nothing like this. Some of them kids don't even probably understand to this day what happened. So they wasn't thinking anything about that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I wanted to know what the motive was. I saw the
He didn't like kids.
unalived Donald Trump. Is it a he or a she? I saw it was a
They
transmission.
said transmission. What? They said
Oh,
the mama supported him with a name change in 2020.
All right.
And he's recognizing himself as a female. Giselle said transmission. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Mm, mm, mm. Lord. But yeah, that is terrible. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, it says she, Westman identifies as a female and wants her name to reflect that. And then it says 5 years later, he seemed to have backed away from that identity. So he going through some changes. Yeah, that's terrible. And the school year just started.
right. Ridiculous.
And I think it's been some other shootings in some other states.
Yep. They need to do a brain study on these folks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't even wait. Just get it over with. Examine the cranium. See what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's maybe some ways or somehow we can detect early signs, something like.
But it be early signs. It's just the family don't pick up. Hell, he had a whole manifesto book. It wasn't even a writing. He had a full book. You can't tell me he walking around that house and his parents don't know something that's going on with him.
I don't
And
know.
obviously in 20, whenever he was Robert, then name changed, and then 5 years later, he backed out of it. He needed some mental help, identity crisis. And probably just lashed out at the church because of what was going on with him, probably fearing that even when he was younger, he didn't feel like he fit in, but they need counseling when they go through stuff like that. Some of them don't even know who they are.
Hmm.
But he needs to be under the prison too.
You do.
And when I mean under, that means like in the ground. That's correct. Don't even need to waste no taxpayer money having no trial or nothing like that. They just need to go on and let the judge just sentence them.
Mm-hmm. Get it over with. That's what I said.
But that's okay. Trump got now. That's one thing about Trump. He said all these people committing these murders, they getting the death penalty.
Yeah, but they need to make it where it's right away.
Yeah, that too. But then they need
They
to
don't
make
need them
sure
put them
they
on death row
actually.
for 8, 10, 15, none of that. 8, 10 months.
But then too, they can't just be throwing people in prison and there's like doubt
They throw
if the
people in
person.
prison every day.
I know, but then how many? Look at all these people that then got their sentences. What's the word?
Yeah, but
Where they?
I'm talking about when it's something obvious like this.
Oh yeah, like this. Yeah, yeah.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, cut and dry.
They don't need no trial.
But we don't need the chance of make sure y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. One family.
Endless
Yeah, we don't need a
connection.
chance of them pleading insanity or mental illness, none of that.
Yeah,
Get it
I
over
agree.
and get her done.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm.
That's terrible. Mm, mm, mm. Well, prayers out to the families,
Yeah,
all affected. That's
yes, yeah.
terrible.
Everybody
Oh, I
got
don't
their
even
night.
know